It's Chris here, and today we are chatting saltwater fly fishing. Around this time of year, we get a lot of people coming in for their first saltwater trips, and it's a big leap when you've only fished freshwater. Salt, yes, it's still just fly fishing, but there are a bunch of changes in the gear and the tactics used. And so today we're going to go over some of the basics and kind of what you need to know if you are thinking about taking your first trip this winter. So starting off in terms of gear, you can use your same rod generally that you're going to fish around here. For bonefish, something in the 7-8 weight category. For permit, small tarpon, a 9 or 10. And for larger fish like large tarpon, you're going to be stepping up into that 11-12 weight range. If you have rods in that range that you fish around here, they will definitely be fine for saltwater fishing. Your reel, on the other hand, you will want to make sure is a sealed drag reel, meaning all the bits and parts inside that reel are sealed off from getting wet and getting salt on them because they could corrode otherwise. A lot of higher end reels and a lot of larger reels are saltwater rated, but just make sure that yours is. If you're unsure, get in touch. We can definitely help you out with that. If not, there's some inexpensive reels that you can get into that are saltwater safe that are going to serve you very well. Now, you probably already own that stuff. What you might not already have is lines. Saltwater fly lines are different than freshwater, or to be more specific, tropical fly lines are different than cold water lines. Tropical fly lines are made with harder plastics, very similar to summer versus winter tires, so that they behave at their best in the salt and in the heat. If you take a freshwater line down to the salt, what tends to happen is the heat softens the plastic, makes the fly line very limp, it's prone to tangles, prone to damage, and just doesn't work as well as it could. So investing in a saltwater fly line, even an inexpensive one if it's just a one-off trip, is definitely something you're going to want to look at doing. And obviously in a line weight to match your rod. These Grand Slam tapers from Scientific Anglers are very popular. They're a great one to get going with because they're very easy casting lines. Cut through the wind great. One of our favorites here at the shop. For leaders, leaders are different again. You can fish your regular sort of freshwater leaders. However, saltwater leaders and tippet are better for the job. And the reason for that is they are, again, a harder material. When you're dealing with the salt, you're dealing with a lot of wind. And so this harder, stiffer material tends to turn over better in that wind, presenting your fly more accurately. And they're also more abrasion resistant because of that. And so, again, when you're coming into contact with things like mangrove shoots or coral heads, anything like that, it's going to stand up better to that kind of wear and tear. You can get these nylon and fluorocarbon leaders. We are generally big fans of full fluorocarbon setups because, again, they are more abrasion resistant. However, a nylon leader with fluorocarbon tippet added on, again, great option as well. In terms of sizes, that's going to depend a lot on the fish you're targeting and the destination. As a starting point, generally about 12 pound for most of your bone fishing, and 16 or 20 pound for your permit is about right. Tarpon, it will vary greatly depending on the size of fish you're targeting. So chat with us, we can help advise on that. It can also pay to bring some wire tippet along. Great opportunity when you're down the salt is targeting barracuda. Barracuda are super fun to fish for, but of course very toothy fish, sharper teeth than muskie or pike, and so you're going to need some bite protection, and so just packing some wire tippet to tie onto your existing leader is a great way to go to get into those fish. And finally, flies. Flies, of course, everybody loves. Pretty simple. You know, for bonefish, it's going to generally be a range of shrimp patterns, tans, whites, maybe some olives being your most common colors. And the biggest thing for bonefish is that you want a couple of different sizes and a few different weights. Weights of flies is a very important thing to have selection of because depending on the depth of water, you need to match that fly to the depth. If you're in really shallow water, you want a lighter fly that's going to land softly and not spook fish. And if you're in deeper water, you need to fish a heavier fly to get down to the fish in time before they scoot on past you. So having just a few different sizes and weights is going to be really key. Don't overcomplicate it, just have selections. When it comes to permit can be targeted with shrimp or crab patterns. Many destinations are more heavily focused on crabs, and the color and size is going to depend on the region. So if you have a gear packing list, that's a great starting point. If you're doing a DIY trip, come chat with us. We have a pretty good sense of what you're going to fish in what destination. But things like these bower crabs, flexo crabs, merkins, or Cathy's fleeing crabs are a really good place to start and work in a great number of destinations. And as far as the bigger stuff goes, tarpon. People are often surprised with how small tarpon flies are. We aren't fishing big musky flies, even though these are very large fish. It's generally bait fish patterns, no larger than about 4, maybe 5 inches on the high end. Flies like this big bait fish from Rio are terrific and serve natural bait fish tones, olive over white. But then slightly wackier colored flies like tarpon toads in purple, red, and chartreuse are also very, very good. A lot of tarpon flies are going to come down to what color the water is and if you need contrast to stand out or not. Some areas you might be fishing backwaters where you have more stained water. Some areas you're going to fish clearer water, and the forage and the visibility might vary. So having a few different tones is a really good idea, but those are sort of your core ones that seem to pop up again and again in many destinations around the world. Finally, for barracuda, you're going to want something big. Needlefish are sort of the main forage in most places, so things like this cacuta from Rio are a great bet for needlefish. They're actually surprisingly light and easy to cast. Also, flies that look like just a large general bait fish, big deceivers, things along those lines can work very well for them too, and also double as fishing very well for other species like jacks and snapper that you might encounter while you're out there. So arrange bait fish patterns, a few shrimp, a few crabs. Keep it simple, keep it a nice little box that you can carry around comfortably. You'll be in great shape. And then the last consideration, certainly not the least important, is what you're going to wear. Saltwater has demands that freshwater fishing does not. So footwear-wise, you're going to want to wear boots if you are wading. Even though it might seem like you're in this beautiful white sand destination on a beach, the terrain when you're wading on flats is not the easiest to wade on. You might see guides down there wading barefoot, but they have calluses about a ½ inch thick. For us, mere mortals, we need to wear boots. A lot of the bottom on these flats is crushed coral and seashells. It's actually very sharp. So something like these flats zip-it booties from Sims are a great way to go. They're light, they pack in your luggage really easy and comfortable to wear all day. When you're on the boat, you're going to take these off. These are just for in-water use. We do recommend wearing something like a wet wading sock with these as well, just to help with chafing, make the overall experience a little more comfortable for you. And then obviously you're down south. We're excited to get out in the sun, but you can get baked on the flats really easily because there is no shade anywhere. These are amazing, beautiful, wide open spaces, but that means the sun is coming from all directions and you can get burnt very easily. So staying covered up is really key. That means long sleeve SPF rated shirts, same with pants, and then don't forget about your sun gloves and buffs just to stay really nicely covered up. That is going to make for a much more pleasant fishing experience for you and want you to come back again and again. If you're getting set for your first trip, come down, chat with us. We'll be happy to help you out. We've been all over the map, as well as our friends, and we have a very good sense of what you're going to need to fish in every destination around. So we'll be happy to point you in the right direction. Any questions, let us know. We'll see you soon.